Now, the Browns take on the Bengals this Sunday at Huntington Bank Field, but there are still a lot of questions about their potential move to Brook Park, and the team and the city announced that yesterday.
And managing editor of Signal Cleveland, Mark Naymik, here to break down some of these details. Mark, we know that talks have been ongoing between the Browns and the city, the Browns and Brook Park for years. They've been shopping. I wonder, is there a time or an event when you think the pendulum swung the other way, when you thought this team's probably going to relocate?
I think when they publicly released to the fans directly, they went right to them, not the media, that big announcement about what their proposal would look like. That had the video, it had the sketches. I think there you could see that's where their heart was. Behind the scenes, we have picked up a lot of, and we've been on the show talking about it with Signal and Channel 3, the negotiations about potential for getting state funding and things. So that's been around a couple of months. And then September 9th, we had a photograph of Jimmy Haslam walking into City Hall. I think, essentially, I read that as you break up with people in person, not through a text or an email.
Good point. Now, listen, Cleveland City Council President Blaine Griffin was on this show live with us yesterday, and he talked as though this is not a done deal. There is still room for negotiation or at least some sort of communication to potentially leave them there. Is it a done deal? What is your gut telling you?
I think the only room for negotiation will be if the owners of the Browns, the Haslams, can't put the financing package together to their liking to make that move. Because remember, that's a $2.4 billion overall investment. They were seeking half of a $1.2 billion investment for this. I think that's where the room is. I know they've talked a lot about the Art Modell law that was put in after the Browns left that makes it a little clumsier and more of a PR nightmare for a team to move. Does that stick or have any real power? I don't think so.
Okay.
We know the public relations side is very complicated, but the big impact that we might see is to downtown Cleveland. Yesterday, Mayor Bibb quoting a $30 million loss annually if and when the Browns do relocate. Where do you think that we might see that as fans and customers in the downtown area?
Well, it's a great point, but something that is often forgotten about in that $30 million, he's not talking, or he's leaving out the fact that we pay $14 million a year in debt service to keep that stadium. So now we have a stadium with no tenant, and we're still obligated to pay a lot of funds. We've renovated the stadium. We've paid for stuff over time. We've paid $350 million since 1998 for that existing public stadium that doesn't have a tenant. So you got to balance that against certain economic loss, but I think most economists will always point out the fact that, money migrates, and if you don't spend it at the Browns downtown, you might spend it somewhere else downtown. So what the true impact is beyond some of the bars that are around there, I think is negotiable, but there is a cost to the city with the Browns there and now without the Browns.
Interesting. All right, Mark, thank you so much. Always appreciate your insight.
Glad to be here.
Absolutely.